This is going to be a short series about pathological liars. This is not a series to identify pathological liars in itself, even though I will explain how to identify pathological liars. But this is more to show you why it matters to realize that the pagan rulers of this world lie to you all the time, and they continue to lie to you all the time. Some people ask the question, what does it matter? I still need to wake up and go to my job every day. Okay, first of all, when a major deception is exposed, on the short term, things will continue as usual. But over time, the impact will be felt. It's the same as dropping an atomic bomb. Okay? You drop it, there's a bang. But you don't really hear the bang immediately. You see a flash of light. And then the sound waves come and you see the big cloud appear above the impact. And it's then during the shaking of the ground that the buildings collapse and things are evaporated, if there is a sea of fire due to the explosion. That's how it is when a deception is discovered. If it's a small deception, it wouldn't have such a big impact. But the bigger the deception is, and the more people are invested in it, the worse the impact will be. And by the way, on the background of this video, you see an image I found on Bing search. It shows the crossed fingers, which is an X, which is a 6, referring to Apollo. These two fingers should be more close to each other to form another X. This actor didn't play his or her role well. And you have the hands crossed, which forms another X. So this is X, X, X. So 6, 6, 6, Helios, Helios, Helios. So this is a allude to the beast right over here. And besides that, there are 3 buttons, 3 circles, each referring to the sun. So it's X, 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 6, 6, 6 right over here also. So this whole picture is an allude twice to the beast. That's how the pagans code the worship to their god. Okay. Pathological liars. What is a pathological liar? A pathological liar is someone, whether male or female, doesn't matter, it's someone that lies just for the sake of lying. It's that simple. Normally, when someone lies, it's because there's an advantage you want to hold on to. But the pathological liar lies for the sake of lying because lying is their mental advantage. It's the same as a drug addict that escalates in his or her drug addiction. In the beginning, when someone begins to use drugs, it's to numb out emotional pain, or because they want to perform unnaturally longer than they should. After a while, they're so attached to the dopamine rush of the drug that they're only taking the drugs for the sake of the drugs. So then it escalates. Well, that's what the pathological liar is. They lie for the sake of lying. And here's the thing. If a pathological liar gained power over others due to the lying, then absolutely they will lie for the sake of lying, because it's the lying that keeps them in it's the lying that keeps them with the upper hand. Without the lying, they don't have an upper hand. You see this when sociopaths succeed in the corporate world. Once they reach the top, once they can dictate the lives of many families, they think they are invincible. They think they've become the Most High. They begin to lie, and their lies catch up with them, and it will become their downfall. You have more successful sociopaths who keep a little bit in touch with reality, but they're still sociopaths, okay? Now, the one at the top of this world system is Satan, and the system is run by Apollo, the beast. Satan is there, he's floating around here and there, but it's the beast, Satan's son, that rules the darkness. Okay? And Hermes, a half-brother of Apollo, another son of Satan, is the right hand of Apollo. So those three, Satan, Apollo, and Hermes, or as the Bible calls them, the dragon, that's Satan, the beast, that's Apollo, and the false prophet, which is Hermes, those three form the unholy trinity that rule the world. And those three are pathological liars. Demons, when it comes down to it, are also pathological liars. But I'm talking about the top now. Those three entities, the unholy trinity, are the pathological liars that rule the world. And every human being that wants to become big and relevant in this world system needs to become a pathological liar also. Because the system is fake. So in order to make it in the system, you have to be fake. So know right away that the world leaders are lying to you. It's what they're supposed to do. The system is based on a lie, so in order to advance and keep the system going, you need to operate in the lie, so you need to be lying. That makes sense to you? Now, it's one thing to have a pathological liar that lies all the time for the sake of lying. It's obvious to recognize such an individual, but the real question is, why do people keep falling for it? To fall for deception once it can happen. To fall for deception once in a while, those are incidents, can also happen. But when people consistently fall for the same deception in diverse forms, then you need to ask yourself what's in it for those scammed. I'm asking you this. What's in the deception for those that are scammed? There's one thing I explained over and over again, and I hope it has gotten through you now. Black magic works best when those that are scammed are participating in their own victimization. Why? Because when folks are participating in their own victimization, there is an investment on their part. And they will likely believe and hold on to their own investment. And they will not realize that their investment is part of a scam. They will perceive their investment as a genuine expression of their own personal will. So they will defend their personal will. They see their personal will as part of them being a human, even though their personal will is a construct that society conditioned them into. But they don't see this. The moment they see that their quote-unquote personal will, or as they call it free will, is just a construction by society, they will be far more willing to forfeit deceptions. But as long as people are invested in this hoax called free will, they cannot truly operate in real freedom. The only freedom someone can operate in if they are trapped by this hoax of free will is negative freedom or fake freedom, which is nothing than bondage that presents itself as the ultimate thing. Or better said, when people are trapped by this hoax called free will, the only thing that's left for them is to be stuck in a pattern of relief seeking. And this relief, the people will perceive as coming by their own efforts, even though it's a system that provides them with the relief that they are fighting for. So you make people work hard to achieve a relieved outcome, and once they achieve that outcome, they think they did it all on their own. And that's how you keep them trapped from seeing that they are being hoaxed. So people in this case are participating in their own victimization, but they just can't see it. If you would tell them that they are participating in their own oppression, they would look at you as if you are an agent sent by the FBI or CIA. Or they may see you as an agent sent by Satan himself. The truth is, however, that if you tell them this, that you are saying things as they are. In order to trick the masses need to comply with their own victimization. But they will not comply willingly with their own victimization, especially not in the beginning, because they would see immediately that it is at their expense. But the moment there's an emotional investment for them, and the investment pays off on the short term, they are blinded from seeing that the short-term advantage is just a deception. And once they're stuck in this, it's very easy to use them as puppets against their own long-term self-interest. Well, forget the word self-interest in their long-term interest. Self-interest is also a construct by the world, but okay, you get what I mean. So, the pathological liars that rule this world, together with the unholy trinity, who they rely on, they condition you through society to invest against your long-term well-being. That's what they're doing. And the whole structure that people need to wake up every morning to go to their job, to pay rent, this whole cycle is the result of this conditioning. But most people don't see it as a conditioning. They see it as that's just the way it is. The moment you realize it's a conditioning and you realize what's behind it, automatically you'll begin to notice more options, and you still will wake up every morning, go to your job, but after a while you will not be in bondage to this 9-to-5 thing anymore, because you will have found ways to have your needs met without having to slaving yourself for some corporation. But here's where the issue comes in. The moment you see through the deception, those around you who don't want to face that they've been scammed will turn on you. They will be the voluntary agents to keep you trapped in the cycle of negativity. That's without the paying rulers paying them or hiring them. They will become sellouts instantly to keep you trapped. Why? Because the moment they see that you're operating in real natural autonomy, it will reflect back onto them, and they will realize that they are stuck. And this is something they don't want to see. They want the sweet euphoria of relief seeking. So the moment you're doing far better than they are, without having to put in all that effort, without being exhausted, they'll realize that they are being hoaxed. And the older they are, the longer they've lived, the worse it will be for them, because they realize that their whole lives they've been hoaxed, and years have gone by in which they operated in a hoax at their own expense, and they can't get those years back. So the longer someone lived, the worse the shock will be to realize that they've been hoaxed. Young folks tend to be more open in general to wake up from the deceptions of this world than people who are, as I say, set in their ways. Why? Because when you are 15 and you see through the hoax of this world, you have more financial options to opt out. If you are already someone with a family and you have a mortgage to pay, you have less financial resources to opt out. It's not impossible to opt out. It is possible. But if you belong to the later group, then you also have a web of social relationships containing people that don't want to wake up, that will attack you and turn on you and make life miserable on you when you want to opt out of the deception. There are folks that have lived a while on the earth that are delivered. It exists, of course it exists. And there are young folks that are hardened and not wanting to see through the deception. That also exists. But overall, the longer you have been in this web of deception, the more difficult it is to be delivered from it. But it is possible. I'll make a part 2 to this. Again, agree with Christ and be at peace.